So we are going to start. Maybe we can close the door. If someone at the back of the room can please go and close the doors. So this is the 6TISCH meeting. For those people who want to listen to BGP, that's the wrong room. And this is the new not well. So it's kind of the same as usual. So you need to remember that if something is being discussed and you're aware about IPR, you need to please let us know or tell the chairs after the meeting. And then please go through this slide. I won't spend the time, but all the contributions to the IETF, including this, what is being said in this meeting and on the mailing list, must follow the rules in RFC 5378 and RFC 8179. Please, if you're not too sure, go and read those RFCs. This is an official meeting. Minutes will be taken. We have 2-minute takers. Thank you, guys, and 2 helpers on the Jabber as well. We are taking the minutes on the fly on Etherpad. So there is on the data tracker agenda, there are a number of buttons associated to the meeting. And one of those buttons gives you direct access to the Etherpad. Otherwise, the link is written on the bottom of the slides here. So if you can please go to Etherpad and if you said something, for instance, you may validate that the minutes are taken correctly and reflect what you intended to say. Okay, or if you want to participate to the minute taking, that's highly appreciated. So we'll go through the agenda. We've got quite a full agenda today. So we will be giving a summary of the F-Entrap test, which happened Friday and Saturday, and the hackathon activity as well. Then we'll go through the almost complete items which relate to scheduling. So the scheduling function, sorry for the typo here, scheduling function 0 and the 6-stop protocol. And then we'll dig into the security work. So there will be 2 main items. There will be Malisha talking about the minimal security, which is a mostly done piece of work. And then Michael will come and present to us the status of the design team, and maybe if you can address a little bit the 3 drafts here, Michael. And then time permitting, so we'll use the rest of our time for those drafts. So we've got a new scheduling function that Simon's going to present us. Then Jonathan will talk about the 6TISCH example. Georgios will talk about replication and elimination. So that's a technique that's being discussed at .NET, and this draft shows how we can apply it on 6TISCH. And then Lijo will talk about an expression time, which is an activity that is happening at 6LOW, but he will be giving us a short summary of what's going on there. And Bob, since you're here, I dare to ask, but we have an AOB. Bob Bailey, please. We've got some AOB time. I was just wondering if you could please, during the AOB, come up and tell us a little bit about what's happening at the IEEE these days. Oh. Thanks so much. It's a big surprise, right? Okay, so with this, so confirm that there are not takers are in the room. So Dominique, I don't see you. Oh yes, I see you now. Where are you? And Francesca, yes, so perfect. Michael, I heard you. Ines, I think I see you on the side. Okay, so there we go. We are ready to start, and we'll start with 2 announcements. So we have 2 RFCs. One of them comes out of this group, and another is very, very related. So the first one is thanks Tero for doing this work. Now we've got a IETF information element that is officially ours from the IEEE.
ID 5, right? Implementers? IETF, IEEE ID IE5.
And last but not least, congratulations to the authors, in particular Xavi, who did the bulk of the edition. We now have the RFC number for the minimum support for 6TISCH, so that's really the core result of this working group so far. And okay, and now if we look at our milestones, and it's good that Suresh is with us, there is an interesting thing is we did not update the milestone to reflect the security work, so we really need to work on that. Apart from that, yes?
So yeah, go ahead and do it, and I'll approve whenever it comes through.
Okay.
Suresh Krishnan for the minutes.
And then we are a little bit late, but not that late. So we will discuss about the 6TISCH protocol, whether we are ready for last call. It appears that we are from my initial reading of the test that we had last week. SF0, we'll discuss as well, knowing that we are running for experimental for that one. And then we'll be talking about what we do for the security and what we put in the milestones. Okay, and soon enough, now we'll have to decide what we do after the security work. So maybe if we have time at the end in the AOB, we can start thinking about what's next for this group. And with this, Margarita, I will give you the floor. So no surprise, but laser more. And presenters, if you can please always stay here because you're on TV, right?
So I'm glad to report about the first FINTEROP 6TISCH interoperability event that we have run on Friday and Saturday, 14-15 July. This event has been organized by EXI.
And you should be able to see your slides in the monitor there.
No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work? Okay.
Thanks.
If somebody knows how to switch on this monitor,
it is black. And as I was saying, it has been organized by ETSI and LIST, and it has been founded by the European Commission through the open call of NH 2020 project called FINTEROP. As usual, we had the support of two companies, OpenMote for the hardware and OpenWSN for the firmware. This time we had quite a high number of participating companies, 16, and we had also several implementations. In particular, we had 5 different implementations for 6TISCH and 6 for OSCO app. So for giving you an idea of the people that organized and made the event, here is a picture of us. So all the people that came, and we thank them for coming with their own implementation. And of course, we were not only people there, but as you can see, there were many things that we try to connect and to let them work together. Just a brief overview of how the event was organized. Of course, we got this grant for the open call of the FINTEROP, and it was mainly LIST and ETSI taking care of this, and we organized a first meeting, a WebEx, beginning of July for meeting with the company and discuss about the test description. We had the test description that was prepared with the help of Tengfei, Alicia, and at the same time there were some tests prepared also for OSCO app, and it was led by Francesca Palombini. And as I said, the event is organized in the context of FINTEROP, and so Remy helped for the preparation of some 6TISCH online tool, and I will talk more about this afterward. About the tests that we wanted to run for this edition, we focus mainly on synchronization, minimal, because now it is RFC. We wanted to check if it works. And then 6TOP also, and finally some security aspect, both at link layer and other related more to the joining function. So overall, as you can see, we had 16 tests. For 6P, we checked several commands like add, list, count, and for minimal, we checked the format of the NIS beacon, the setup of the channel hopping, the slot frame size. And okay, for as I said, the event ran for 1 day and a half. We have an initial setup phase as usual, and then 3 main test sessions. And on Saturday, after everything was concluded, we had the final wrap-up session. This is for giving you an idea of the fun that we had. So as you can see, there was we were happy to test the different implementation with many devices connected. Again, we had, as usual, the wire shark dissector that helped a lot, and we gave a demo session on F-interop, how to use the online tool.
Margarita, these pictures. So thank you for putting those, because last time we put pictures which involved mostly wires, and people were asking whether this was a wireless event. So you see, we tried to put antennas this time.
I took care of all the aspects, people, device, and dissector.
There's no power cables, it's all wireless.
I was careful.
Thank you.
And okay, also showing happy people, because this is an happy event. We were happy to test and validate the interoperability. Once we finished the test, all the company involved were able to report the results of the test using a TRT tool provided by Etsy. And this is very efficient. It allows us to record and then compute easily the statistic. Here are the results. As you can see, it was a great success. We had almost 86% of the tests passed, and there were few tests that were not applicable, mainly those related to security, and in particular, all the success one confirmed that the RFC 8180, so minimal, is working and interoperating properly among the different 5 implementations. So this was great. Yes.
So, Thomas, can you go back to the previous slide? So,
yes.
To be very, very clear, we try to not cheat. Because so let me explain. What did I say? No, what we do is, last time we didn't kind of enforce this rule, and if you do a test and it passes, you're very happy to click green. If it doesn't work, or you kind of don't click red. So last time we had 100% passing tests. What we did now is we enforced the rule. Okay, look, if you try a test, then you have to say pass or fail. If it's fail, it doesn't matter. And if you come with an implementation which did not implement that feature, and that we had 11 different implementations, so it's normal that not every implementation gets that feature, please press not applicable. So the gray part here is that kind of gives you an idea of the percentage of what was implemented from the things. And so I think this is a very, very positive number. 2/3 of everything that we've written was implemented by the different implementations, which is very cool. And from those implementations, 86% of those passed. So it was a fun event. Thank you.
So, as I said, this plug test was organized and founded in the context of the F-interop European project. And for those that are not familiar, this is an European project that aims to develop some online testing tools that are available on a shared platform. And the aim is to be able to run interoperability tests while staying without the need of being all in the same place. So the idea is that you can be in your office, you can have your hardware there, and through an agent you connect remotely to this platform and to the testing tools that are available on the internet. Right now, there is quite a big number of tests that the platform already provides, or anyway will provide in short term, like 6TISCH, CoAP, 6LoWPAN, LoRa, or OSCoAP. And of course, it would be great if you also contribute to the project and you add your own test, you come with your proposition, and this platform should be widely used and will somehow become the instrument for running interoperability event more often without the need of travel and cutting costs. So during the plug test, we show with a demo how this platform can be used for running, for example, ripple test. And the idea is that in the next event, we will actually use some of these online tests for our 6TISCH plug test. So just for giving the feedback of the event, as I said already before, it was a great success. We had a very high percentage of successful tests, in particular for the minimal now RFC 8180, all the implementation were working well. And then for 6-stop, we had the chance to identify little detail that it would be better to fix and in the next draft. In particular for the add command, in the current version, we usually reply with success code with the empty cell list when we don't have any more cell available to be reserved. But actually, we realize it will be better to use a no-response code still with empty cell list. And then in case of generation mismatch, right now in the draft, we are recommending to send a clear. Yes.
I think I have a question here.
State your name, please.
I'm Tengfei Chang from INRIA. According to the add command, if there's no available one, you return no resource. But for me, no resource is can I schedule something, but you don't have more buffer for the slot rather than this.
So I think, Xavi, you're going to present this, and you have this list as well. So
Yeah.
Tengfei, keep the thought. I think we should discuss quite with Xavi.
Okay.
When he presented the 6P project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And same for the generation mismatch, we are right now suggesting to send a clear, but it will be better to add a rollback policy. So these are all feedback that afterward Xavi will discuss. So what we can say, again, it was a good success, and we could actually see that there was interoperability, that the drafts are at a good state of maturity, and as usual, the event helped in progressing and have a feeling of how the technology is now well implemented and it works. So about next event, as I said, the aim is to use the online testing tool and to have a remote event. We will fix a date. We didn't decide yet. This will be advertised in advance. Of course, feedback will come. By that time, for sure, the tool will be available. The event will be still organized in the context of DefInterop project, and we will make sure that there is enough information to know how to use the testing tool. Right now, you can already log and try to use this tool. There is also a feedback link, so you can provide suggestions how to improve and to make them better.
So I want to stress how cool this is. Well, right, we tested everything from synchronizing 15.4, 15.4e, secure joining, and then scheduling function. 6-stop protocol to schedule different nodes. So this is where we're almost there. So it's very cool to have seen this. If you have any suggestions or comments about the event that we would do in the fall, please let us know if you have any days that work or don't work for you. One idea that has been floated is to have an event again in a physical room with participants that are remote. So of course Singapore might be a right time frame for that. So if you have any comments, please let us know. Thank you, Margarita. So, think Faye, there you are. You left and right button.
So this is the hackathon happening on Sunday, July 16, right after the black test. And the same participants in the black test joined this hackathon event. And the goal is to go up, you can find in the link, and you can also check here. So here is our outcome from the hackathon event. There are 4 items. One is the integrator of OpenWSN stack in React. With that, during the hackathon, we are doing the adaptation of the React hardware driver code, and also create an OpenWSN stack and use the tool for integrating with React. So with this integration complete, and OpenWSN now it can support all the major open source implementations. And during the hackathon, we also presented a FinterUp platform, and we have some progress. By updating the bootstrap of the test session of the FinterUp platform, it's more like flashing the hardware, control remotely the testing device before the users really do the test, the FinterUp test before. So also we have progress on the drone security. We're refactoring the GRC code, and also the key for the network, it can be generated at the random time when the open visualizer is initialized. This means when we can start the different network and with a different network key, so they won't influence each other. So with this and the full 6TISCH and with the security bootstraps now is in the OpenWSN project. And on the OpenWSN side, we also do the housekeeping and fixing and cleaning up some the project related to the open mode and the TestB platform. And also complete the design of a commission, which is the one-touch security through the Navi param module. And also we fixed some bug from the repo. We added the PIO and some configuration option in the repo DIO package, and it's referring to the RFC 6450. And with this, the full OpenWSN Kondiki can be interrupt.
Thank you. These were announcements. Thank you, Fei.
Sure.
Okay, so now let's move to the first section about dynamic scheduling. So I think, if I remember correctly, yes, Xavi, you're up. Give us an update about the 6TISCH protocol.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm presenting an update of the 6TISCH protocol. We are in version 7. The last update was last 27th of June. This draft is pretty stable. There's several implementations of it, completely independent implementations supported in vendor platforms and also in open source platforms. We've tested some of these implementations, 5 different implementations on the 6TISCH plug test, on the ETC plug test last Friday and Saturday. And my goal today is just summarize what we've been doing in the last month and maybe ask for the work group last call. So during the last month, we've been updating some minor problems that were reported by different reviewers. Jonathan and Charlie sent us a very exhaustive list of comments. We addressed all of them. We posted the responses to the mailing list. we fixed some minor things in some typos and errors, and we did some reordering of sections to make it more clear and maybe remove some text that was kind of not important or like repeated. And what we are now, this is the status that we are now, and after the plaque test, we have identified a couple of things that we want to comment, and we want to see maybe your opinion, or if you can give your point in either here or in the mailing list. One point is when we do a 6p add, the 6p add command always returns a success, and depending on the outcome of the add command, it responds a list of the cells that have been allocated. For example, if I issue an add and I want 2 cells and both of them are allocated, the response contains, it says success, plus in the list of cells that it returns, there are these 2 cells. This is full allocation. If I issue an add, but the receiver cannot allocate both of them, but only one, it returns that cell. So I know it's success, and I allocated only 1 cell. And if none of them can be allocated, then it returns success. This is the current thing now, but the list is empty. So there's some complaints on the implementation saying, okay, but I need to look at the list, and I know because of the size of the list is 0 that I couldn't allocate them. But this is a kind of a strange case because you are saying success, but you cannot allocate any. So the concern here is whether we have to use no-res response instead of, or another code as you indicated, Tengfei. So that's one of the possible things that we can improve. I don't know if there's any comment on this.
So this is Tengfei from INRIA. So here is the no resource for me at the beginning is saying if I reserve a cell like a 5, maybe 5 is not occupied, but my slot buffer is already full, and I cannot reserve you more. So that case return no resource. So but in this case it's different from that. So maybe there will be another return code for this.
Okay, so you propose to have an additional return code for this case.
Yes.
Okay, if we so. Thomas, so if we add an extra return code for saying we have no space at all, I'm sorry, no, a return code for saying none of those cells in your cell list satisfies us, we might as well add another return code for the saying partial, because I think we try to, I mean, the proposal of no res is to be able to reuse return codes, so we might as well make some specific return codes. It's we have 1 byte for the return code, and we currently have like 5 allocated, right? So we have 256. That we can
I don't see any problem on allocating a couple more. And
okay.
If we can make it more explicit, even because someone detects that there's error codes that are ambiguous, we can make them more
Okay.
kind of specific. That's fine. So
would that work for you? Okay. Yeah. He says yes.
Pascal, tu es here. If you make a new return code, you need to have a behavior associated to it, which is specific to this return code.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. This is another point. When for some reason a generation error is detected, when we maybe allocate cells and for some reason we lose an ACK, and then one side of the allocation fails, and one side allocates the cells but the other one not, we have an inconsistency in the schedule. So in this case, in the current version, we recommend that when this inconsistency is detected, we recommend, it's not mandatory, but we recommend to clear the schedule. Clearing the schedule can be very costly because, and it's costly if we take into account that maybe we'll lose only 1 or 2 ACKs. So the proposal here is that to introduce a mechanism or change a little bit the behavior so we can try to correct that situation. Because we know that if we detect that inconsistency, it's due to the last operation we have done. It cannot be due to any other thing. It only can happen because the previous operation we did messed up, or we lost an ACK, or we lost a packet, and one of the sites did not detect that. So what we propose to cope with the situation and enable, and this will be policy, so we don't say how, but we enable a policy to correct that problem, is change a little bit the text on correcting or coping with generation errors, and saying that when we detect this error, you cannot add or you cannot delete cells. Well, you cannot add or delete cells, but you can still, the list and count operations will work. You will be able to send a list and count to your neighbor, and then the return of this operation will tell you what's happening, and then you can correct your own schedule with this result. And then you can then kind of cheat on the generation number and then stay in sync again. So that's our proposal, and the text we propose is the one in the middle. The two bullets, the first one and the last one, are already in the draft, and the one in the middle is if the code of the 6P request is count or list, when I detected that generation error, the node must execute the operation and return the requested values, and this can be used despite of we have the generation error to correct the inconsistency. So that's what we proposed. We don't say how, but we say we support that by listing and counting, we can detect the difference in the schedule and then correct it.
Do we have any comments from implementers about this? Or I think it,
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah.
This is Yasuki Tanaka from Toshio. Actually, the generation management works very well. Actually, too well. So that time we just only think that to issue the clear. So my proposal is maybe sound a little bit radical. Just throw away the generation management. So both peers can detect the last transaction fails or not. So the timeout should occur when, for example, when the peer cannot receive the MAC or something. It can be detected. And also the count or list, the command, also the give you more information to, how can I say, to get back the step, the synchronize, the same schedule, the cells. So again, my proposal is throw away the general management. I think that's easier, but the huge impact on the drop.
The thing is, if you drop this mechanism, you are forced somehow periodically maybe to issue lists or counts in order to see if everything is correct. Which I think this is safer in terms of consistency, because at the first action you do, you detect the inconsistency, then you can react quickly. If not, you can like diverge.
Yeah, my point is the timeout could be used for I don't know, more, yeah.
To force the list. So if timeout, I force the list.
So Thomas, I have a counter example, and this is the reason why we put the counter in there, generation. The problem, yes, with the MAC and all of that, you can detect that something went wrong in the communication. The only case you cannot detect is when an ACK is lost. So you send me a response, I send you an ACK, but you don't get the ACK. And this is your last retry, MAC layer retry. So I think everything's fine, and you say that you think the whole transaction has failed. So now what happens? My generation has bumped, your generation has not bumped. And so that's the inconsistency I think we want to detect with that mechanism. Is that, you say yes, so I assume this case is, you fully have thought of this, but you still don't agree?
And also I detect the timeout, because I didn't receive your ACK.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't understand. Let's. I think we have too little time to discuss this. Let's maybe have a little chat over the week, and if not during the on the mailing list. To make it clear. Okay.
Yeah. So it's my last slide. The next steps. There's a little thing I want to do, and it's to clarify the use of the IETF IE in the draft. Now it's just a very simple sentence. I want to clarify how this IE is used, how it's encapsulated. Will be just one more line explaining how to use it, and then resolve all these two plug test outcome issues or problems that we have identified, and then I'm asking for a workgroup last call.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So, so I think the changes are that we have identified. We have to have this discussion for sure first. The draft has been implemented many times. It works well. I think we're very close to having a final version. I think we need to resolve the plug test outcomes, maybe bump the revision, publish this, and then I propose that we have a workgroup last call on the mailing list right after this 08 is published. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah.
I would like to add that, as you know, this draft uses information element. It's really happening at the MAC layer, and that the IEEE is very aware that we are doing this, and they have created a working task group, the 1512, which is the equivalent of our working groups, which deals with the link layer communications. It's an NRC, and they are integrating the concept of 6P as part of their design already. So they know it exists, they included it in their design, and I hope that Charlie, who's here at the end of the room, Charlie, can you help me? So I hope maybe Charlie, you can tell us a little bit more, not now, but at the end of the meeting during the AOB, if you can just tell us a little bit about the 1512, and maybe Bob will tell us more about what's happening globally in 15.4. But I'm just saying that NRC is there and it's wrapping this operation nicely. So be prepared for questions during the AOB.
Microphone, please.
I'm just saying, if you can, during the AOB, talk a little bit about 1512 and how that relates to this work.
Well, I just came to the microphone to say that I didn't have anything to say. So hopefully later this week I'll do that. And all right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Let's not all follow that that pattern. Any more questions for Xavi before we move on? Diego, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. This is Diego Duhovne from Universidad Diego Portales. I'm the editor of the IETF 6TISCH SF0. This is version 5 we have published recently. So the idea of this draft was to build a dynamic and distributed. This doesn't work anymore. Okay, dynamic and distributed scheduling function.
It's not 6TISCH.
It's what? Okay. And now we have done a lot of revision from the comments. And thank you. I would like to thank Xavi and thank Chin, who have made a very detailed revision of the draft. So I had some time to address every other comment. So there's a lot of tickets we have addressed with. The others have addressed in that. So the next question, let's see what happens. Okay. Thank you. Frozen. Yeah, again. Don't worry. Then, well, I have a collection of typos, so I have solved every other typo, okay, and every other problems we have. So some expressions extra and extra text that shouldn't be there. So those are all the details are on the tickets if you want to see them exactly. So I just focus on the specific tickets where we to the concepts and mechanisms that were defined on the SF0. And some movement and big movements of text between them. So the first ticket was 67, which transferred the a couple of sections, okay, the cell estimation algorithm allocation policy, which were concentrated on the introduction mainly, and just transfer to their specific sections of there to explain a little bit what was going on what were the original ideas that were generated there. Second, on 68, what's the difference between allocated and used cells? Meaning that allocated or scheduled cells, I think we are trying to measure how many cells we are using from the ones which are already scheduled. And this is kind of how to measure the buffer usage of that. And this is the only point we can sense that there's a change and that we need to react to that change. So that's why I added a definition, a specific definition to it. And then the difference is taken from one slot frame to the next one. So we react in one slot frame time. See, so we have to clarify that we only work on transmission cells, TX cells from one neighbor to the other. This is a neighbor-to-neighbor algorithm only. Then we are going to the over-provisioning. Okay, there's a clear definition of what over-provisioning is, and the thing is we have added this definition in order to specify that we have a specific size of the number of allocated cells, and we need always a little bit more of cells to detect that we need more space, and we need more space to satisfy a new request in the future. And so we are artificially allocating more cells. Okay, we are using more than what we need in order to detect if there's a new requirement. If we were deleting cells with that these cells were less, okay, there's no problem about it. Okay, so we're going to detect it anyway. But we want to detect more cells are required. Okay, this is the problem we wanted to address on this time. Then about the relocation. Okay, there's another one of the mechanisms that SF0 also addresses is the relocation of cells. So relocation is clearly defined on the 433 section of the 6P draft. So which is the mechanism it should force of there, and